and talking about what they're doing and working directly with Pew and their partners. When we got to look at what AIS was doing, and we got to know SpaceQuest and AIS through that project, we started thinking about other stuff you could do with it besides the kind of thing that Tony was just talking about. So instead of looking at what one vessel is doing and trying to say everything about what that one's doing, what if we looked at all of them and said, what are they all doing collectively? We also been fortunate enough in the last couple of years to be working with Jennifer and her group, and Jennifer keeps inviting us back to great things like this. And so we got to know the Google engineers. And when I sat down with a couple of the engineers, I got like 2 circles and an arrow on the whiteboard, and they said, wow, that's great, let's do it. So we started doing it. So they promised me that we can scale this up to global scale, and we can serve it up to as many users as want to be able to see it. So this is what we're doing. So we take the data coming in for us. So you can see that South America there. Actually, let's get this. I got the nighttime view on here, but let's get the daytime view. So this is a chunk of data that ran, the SpaceQuest satellite data that ran through Analyze Engine, and then they scored every piece of data there in terms of the probability that moment in time there was fishing behavior going on. So we loaded that all in here. We're using some cool tools that Kurt and Brian and his team are helping us with to visualize it. And one of the cool things that we can do is we can animate it. So, and this is a web browser. This is a regular web browser. You just open it up and it just happens. It's a lot of data, and the Google tools enable us to serve it up really quickly. So one of the cool things you can do is sort of have this heat map effect here, where so the bright yellow is high fishing score, the green is low fishing score. So you see a lot of vessels just transiting through, and so one of the things that it does is it lets you see the segment of the vessel's activity that was actually fishing. And then you can see when it started and when it stopped. And then the tool Tony was showing has a whole bunch of controls on it. We have 2. We have the date range. So this is now showing 16 days of activity all at once. So we can adjust that up to whatever we want to see. So now we start to get a heat map of where. If I just pause this, right? So now we're looking at 28 days ending on November in 2012. So we have the whole year of 2012 loaded up here. And so now you can see there's where the fishing was, right? So this is a squid fleet off Peru. This is probably jack mackerel, but might be tuna going on out here. And then if we zoom in on this thing, and then we can see all of the, there's the longliners. And if we narrow this back down a little bit, we can see where they're active, and then we can animate this. We can see how they're moving, and we can grab this time slider and just sort of move it around and see where everything is. So that's what we got working right now. This works on my laptop, and I'm glad it worked on my laptop. And we have just this data set in here. So, but of course, the obvious thing to do when you look at this is say, well, where's the rest of the world? And we're going to do that. So you're not identifying anything illegal here. You're not even identifying what the vessel is, right? You're looking at the aggregate picture of everything that's going on there. And then we envision then you could easily take a slice of this visualization as a picture of, for this area that I care about, here's all the fishing, and then once Analyze works their magic and figures out how to tell the difference between a purse seiner and a longliner and a trawler, then we'll color code by what kind of fishing it was. And possibly the heat map would represent vessel days of activity rather than, right now it's showing you likelihood that it's fishing. But we would change that, right? A couple of different visualizations. So that's what I want to show you. Do we have any time?
3 minutes for
questions.
questions.
Okay, we got time for questions?